Hello everyone, thanks for checking this out.
If you're looking for the best show to get your mind refreshed and keep yourself updated about
educations, health, local politics and many more, then you're at the right place. Welcome to Knowledge is Power Podcast,
the show that specializes on educating Southeast Texas African Americans communities
with profitable information on health, education, local politics, business and personal finances and many more life coping skills.
You can join us and start streaming our episodes to get to discover more about the community and new things about yourself.
Meet our outstanding host, Tony Renfro,
and our co-host Francis Larkin and LaDonna Sherwood,
as we go through different overwhelming topics, interviewing new guests every Tuesdays and Sundays at 8 p.m.
Central Standard Time.
You can start streaming with us on different platforms like Facebook,
at Knowledge is Power Podcast Live,
YouTube,
at Knowledge is Power Podcast Live,
Apple Podcast,
at Knowledge is Power Podcast Live.
How do you catch up with our live streams? It's more than easy.
Now, open your mobile device and go to YouTube now. Click on the search button and write on the search bar, Knowledge is Power Podcast Live. Click on the subscribe button and also turn on notifications to receive a pop-up message whenever we start a program.
You can also do that on Facebook. Write on the search bar Knowledge is Power Podcast Live and then you can click on the like button.
The best time to join is now. Knowledge is Power Podcast
is the best for you.
Welcome to Knowledge is Power Podcast.
Here we are going specialize on educating Southeast Texas African Americans communities with viable information on
health,
education,
local politics,
business and personal finances,
leadership coaching, and many more. Learning as a joint experience and through our series of interviews,
we can all learn more and achieve even greater things.
You are now tuned into this week's episode of our podcast.
Today, we are going to interview some of the greatest and most influential minds as our guest.
Meet our host Tony Renfro
and our co-hosts
LaDonna Sherwood and Francis Larkin.
Join us every Tuesdays and Sundays as we interview new guests on another
mind-blowing topics.
Knowledge is Power Podcast
is the best for you.
Hello. Okay. Hello. 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 Testing.
Hello. Hello.
Okay. Can you hear me? Because I can't hear myself right now.
Really? Yeah, I hear you fine. How you doing?
I'm great, man. I'm great, and everything is going well. Let's see here. I had a new project going on, but I don't know what happened to it. Let's see. Let's see. Can you hear that?
I can hear you fine.
Okay. Can you hear the background?
I can't hear any background.
Okay. So I'm having some issues there. Gotta have some things playing, and it's not playing. Let's go back to it and see if I can get there.
Okay.
Okay. Listen. Got some new. Hey, this for me. Hey, welcome everybody. Right. Let's go here.
I like
Okay,
that.
there we go. My green screen is here. I'm working on it. I'm so confused, but anyway, we'll get there. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to back out of here, and we're going to get on our two thing. And tonight we're going to talk about. Let's see here. Tonight we plan on talking about the new Texas state laws that's going on right now. Let's see now. I'm going to slow this down a little bit and get back to where I was. Okay, I'm slow. I've been adding new equipment every day, and not everything was working until now. Everything was working until now.
You're doing big time.
Yeah, well, that's everybody. I'm working on it.
I'm gonna have to pay studio time now.
Yeah, I got Perry Busby with me, everybody. I've got Perry Busby. I got Unc who just joined us late as always.
Good evening.
How you doing, Beaumont? How you doing, Beaumont in Southeast Texas?
Good evening, everyone.
Yeah. I'm just trying to figure out why my system is not. I see what it is. Okay. All right, let's go back. Young guys.
And Tony, let me tell you, I have as a rule, old people and new technology do not go together. I'm telling you. I know it from experience. Old folk and new technology, boy, you got some trouble.
How y'all brothers been this week? How's the week?
Been great.
Everybody's fine. Everybody's been great.
Awesome.
And everybody's been fine.
Hey, how are y'all?
Hey,
all right.
Hello, Francis.
Miss Larkin. How you doing?
How are you?
I love the glasses. Hey, sugar. How you doing? Yeah.
That's because no makeup due to the mask. I can't do the makeup in the mask.
Oh, I'm staying with the mask, okay?
Okay.
Yeah, guys. Hey, guys, people, if you're listening, mask up, please. Mask up. Hey, let's get a big old shout out to Marzel Gabriel Thomas. Hello.
Hey.
Hello.
Hey. How you doing?
Good evening, Marzel.
Yeah. And we've got another. Hey, Dr. Candace Matthews. What's up? What's up with
you?
What's up, Dr. Matthews?
Yes. How's things going? Matter of fact, Dr. Matthews, we are now, our topics now is what I heard and what we've been hearing. I don't know how Francis came up with that topic because this morning I decided we're going to do our first Thursday podcast, and I said, wait a minute, let's get Francis back on here. Let's get everybody on here and find out what we're going to talk about. So here we are. We're talking about it. So what I'm saying is that we're going to talk about the new Texas state laws that went in effect yesterday, September the 1st. Man, you're going to be crazy. You're going to be crazy about this. This is something that's going on. We'll be in Beaumont soon. When you coming to Beaumont, we're going to be looking for you. And what are you going to be coming to Beaumont for? Just to visit family, or just to want to know what's all, or you just want to know all about the tea?
I love tea.
Hello, Beaumont, Port Arthur, Orange, Southeast Texas, and matter of fact, the country. We're all over the place. We're on Apple Podcast, and there's so many downloads now. It's unbelievable. So I had to get back on. We had to get back on there and talk about some things. Now I'll tell you what we're going to be talking about on Sunday. Is it Sunday? Next Tuesday. Sunday is a Labor Day weekend, correct?
It is.
But next Tuesday, we're going to be talking about COVID-19 survivor patients. Those patients that we survived COVID, we're going to give them an opportunity to tell us their testimony, give us their praise report, tell us what they went through having COVID, what they had to go through, how long they stayed in the ICU, and how they recovery coming along, and how they got there, and how they're doing right now today. So that's going to be a great opportunity to listen about COVID, because people, COVID is real. It's no fake. It's no joke. And so please, if I know y'all, some of you guys are on the other side of this, don't believe in the vaccination, but I do. Get vaccinated, please. You're gonna need that. So I'm still having some problem with my headsets. I keep hearing water noise, like water somewhere.
Yeah, I hear that, Tony.
So I'm gonna back out and I'm gonna come back in. Okay, guys.
Okay.
All right.
That may have been me. Let me put my mic on mute because I'm next to an aquarium.
That was you.
Yeah, that's what we hear.
Yeah, I damn near thought I was swimming. Yes. Oh yeah. Wait a minute. Okay, what you say now? Yeah, she says she's getting a booster shot next week. I am too.
No, that's right.
I'm getting mine next Tuesday. So I'm encouraging you all to get your vaccines checked. So what we're going to talk about tonight is the new Texas law.
And there is a lot of them.
Yeah, and it's a lot of laws that's coming available. I'm keep going the wrong way here. Where's my page here? Yes. I've been working on this computer and trying to get all my music set out. But hello, Deborah Brown. Hello, guys. Hello. Get a big shout out to Deborah Brown from over there on the Parrotin side of town. Let's see here. I'm missing. Where's my notes? I'm trying to get my notes. Okay. Okay. So there's some new laws here, and one thing we want to talk about is the permitless carry. That's in the House Bill 1927 that's allowing Texans age age of 21 and older to carry handguns without training or a license, as long as they are not legally prevented from doing so. So can y'all explain that to me, what that meant? The last part, I know they can carry the guns anywhere they want to go if they're 21 years old.
It's probably if you're a felon, possibly.
That's one of them. But it's also based on like veterans. Certain veterans are not allowed under this law to carry because some veterans have identified to have PTSD, which is also considered a mental health issue. According to the law that was out, if you have mental health issues, you are not allowed, and that's federal, you are not allowed to carry any kind of weapon. So it's some language in there, Tony, that, we were trying to, I guess, understand before it was actually signed into law. But, the effective date is yesterday.
Yeah.
So, it is what it is. And I will say this. If you are naive or don't know about these laws, woe be unto you for not knowing, because you could still be arrested. You're going to go to jail. Especially if you are found to be outside of the requirements and or the allowance to carry without having to register, because there is still the registration part for those that may be PTSD but needed the extra added approval for them to carry. So that's some of what's actually going on. I will say again, you could go to texas.gov to find out the laws and different things that's actually being written and passed. So especially to keep yourself abreast on what's being passed in the state of Texas. And like I tell people, those are the laws, and you know, the laws and constitution that governs you as a Texan. And there's also some that govern you as a resident of Jefferson County as well as a citizen of Beaumont. So be mindful of the laws that's being passed uh, throughout the state, especially right now.
Right.
Also, to address the allowance, Tony. At first it was wrote out that you could be 18 to possess a weapon. Um, they had to go back to the table on that, and just like on the federal level, you have to be of a certain age to acquire um, a firearm. Same goes here. You cannot you can't expect an 18-year-old to go and buy a weapon. They have to be 21 years old, and that's a federal law. So the state also had to adopt federal law in order to bring this law before the people.
So what about the training? In order to handle a firearm, I've taken a handgun class, and I mean a lot of stuff about carrying a handgun I just didn't know. Just some of the actual, the way you carry it, the way you load it, what you should or should not do. And some other of my classmates that were with me, your the first thing you want to do is keep your finger on the trigger and just kind of move around from left to right. They teach you so many things about firearms. Who do we depend on to teach these things? How will they know you can just go out and buy a gun?
Well,
I
again,
think it's pretty unsafe.
as a veteran, as a veteran or any active duty service member, in order to carry your weapon, you have to be proficient in the weapon that you carry. I don't understand how is it that you as an individual aren't knowledgeable of a weapon and you're able to carry it, especially use your weapon proficiently according
Right.
to a set standard for even I mean, like, I don't understand why it was taken out, because even as an NRA member, that's that's required as an NRA
Right.
member, that you learn how to um, govern
Operate.
yourself
Right.
govern yourself and operate a,
Firearm.
a sidearm.
Right.
But like you said, how comfortable are Texans knowing that 21-year-old individuals now have the right and legitimacy to acquire a sidearm and not be registered
Well, I'm
and
gonna
or
tell you one thing. When
required
I
to
was
license.
21, I wasn't mature enough to. I really shouldn't have been driving. So to carry something that requires you to be, I mean, really, really mature and to know how to conduct yourself, I just don't know if that would be the right move for a lot of people. I think, in a sense, it's kind of like a catch-22. I don't know what
Mhm.
else is going to come from it, but I do know something else definitely is going to spring from this. I just don't know what's to come down the road.
Well,
Right, and
it's
go
funny
ahead.
you say that because Francis, because I'm not in Texas,
You're in Florida, huh?
but now, yeah,
You're in Florida.
right, which is just like the evil twin sister.
Okay.
Whatever you all don't do, we come up with, and you guys take it, and vice versa. I guess what and you raise a great point is what is the intent
Right.
behind this, as well as uh, I, what I haven't heard is what is the cost to us. And Chris alluded to it in terms of not understanding the provisions and certain parameters of these laws. So I guess I guess my thing is, I know what they're doing. What are we doing? And if you guys can get ahead of it, then maybe we can get ahead of it in some other states.
Right.
Before it takes root, because I think this stuff is spreading fast.
Wow. I'm very concerned about that law. That's one of the ones that I'm super concerned about.
Yeah, that and voting. I mean, and they go hand in hand.
Yes,
right. I was
absolutely.
about to say, and you have the voting bill that's on the chopping block as well
Absolutely.
here in the state of Texas, and they go hand in hand. And I guess like like Perry mentioned, you have to be aware of the uh, unnoted consequences.
Right.
And I think that our elected officials went through this process not really ascertaining the not noted possibilities, especially they a lot of people were saying, well, I will feel safer being that somebody's in the area with a pistol versus nobody in the area and there's a mass gun shooter.
Right.
That's their all that majority of the time that's all I've heard as far as their go-to for this
Right.
particular reason. But like Perry mentioned, okay, if that's the provision that you're making, then or the reason that you build in this law, then there needs to be some type of stipulation put in
Right.
place that says
Mandatory.
if you are 21 and you acquire a pistol um, without um, a licensing um, and or registering, because registering is still you still have to register. That's not that's not off the table. You still have to
Right.
register. You still it goes through it goes through the database. Um, so like some people may go, some 20 21 year olds and other individuals may go to academy just for play sake, and go to buy a gun. They're 20 24, but that background, that check, that federal check that comes
Mm-hmm.
about says it pings up as a no, so they're not going to be able to purchase a pistol or a sidearm or anything like that. Um, so, you know, like I said, the language, like I said in the beginning, the language in this bill, well, it's not a bill anymore. In this law, um, is vague, especially when it comes to consequences and repercussions of those
Exactly.
that are not licensed. As a member of, well, as a leader in the African American community here in Beaumont, I've heard, a lot of concern about um, this going to be targeted on African Americans. Now, mind you, we had our lieutenant governor just recently come out and say African American, African American members in the state of Texas are the reason that COVID, the numbers are high. Vaccinated and non-vaccinated. Well, he said non-vaccinated African Americans is the reason why our numbers are high in the state of Texas. Now, push back forward to yesterday when this bill became effective. I mean, this law became effective. You have your lieutenant governor saying African Americans are carriers or larger carriers of the coronavirus, COVID-19, Delta variant, Lambda variant, Mu variant. If y'all haven't heard of the last two, those are the latest two that's out. Mind you, Lambda variant was not addressed until it escaped the boundaries of Texas. because Texas was the only place that it was found by the CDC outside of China. So you have all of that, plus, you know, you have all of that that's being thrown into the public, plus this bill saying that you don't have to be a licensed carrier for a sidearm. Now, what you did was you alerted a lot of people. You put a lot of people on alert, especially in the black and brown communities,
Right.
because we have instances, and this is one of the issues that we kept going back and forward with while this law was still sitting in the state house. So you have individuals, Texas residents, who have been um, indicted for crossing county and state line, causing mass murders. And you have no provision, no consequence or repercussion to a Texas resident crossing into another county and or another state and committing mass murders. There is no there is nothing in this law that gives individuals a consequence to their actions after owning a sidearm, a pistol, a Ruger, a Derringer, because in the state of Texas, allegedly, you could buy whatever sidearm, whatever pistol, whatever gun, rifle you want, and that too was not implemented in this law, saying that these types of weapons are restricted or restricted from being licensed.
Whew, that's deep.
Yeah, you could go buy a 12 gauge shotgun and not be licensed. And I don't know if everybody is aware, but a 12 gauge shotgun goes through body padding,
Oh wow.
especially if you are in close proximity. You have FMJs, full metal jackets, that goes through body padding. I didn't say body armor, I said body padding. It goes through body padding. 45, 35 will hit you on your skin. A 22 will hit you on your skin in body padding. A paintball gun will hit you on your skin in body padding. So if we have, you know, certain caliber weapons just being purchased by 21 plus year old individuals, then without consequences or repercussions, then you have
Right.
a younger population, you have another population or another demographic of individuals who now aren't really governed when it comes to um, owning a weapon.
Right.
I mean,
They
and
need
then
to.
too, like Perry said, we don't know what other states outside of Texas that's willing to adopt these laws, because before this law was implemented, Texas shared the same gun law with Georgia and a few other states around the nation. Now
Right.
our gun law has changed, so guess what you have to do? You have to govern yourself accordingly whenever you
Control.
travel with
Right.
your weapon. And whether or not you are uh, hopefully you still go and you get licensed to carry, because outside of the state of Texas, that is still a requirement as of today.
Mm. And see, I don't know a lot about carrying, but just the overall idea of you being able to just carry a weapon starting at 21 without being, it has to be registered, but you said it doesn't have to be, you don't have to acquire a license. So
That's correct.
so that for me is just, it kind of, it puts me on edge a little bit.
Well, I
Yeah.
mean, like if you think about, and this is one of the issues that our veteran community or our military, our Texas reserve community, military reserve community, as well as our active duty members who are not in Texas per se. Um, our military is trained beyond measure, better than our local police departments are trained.
Right.
And I could say that because I'm prior service military. Um,
Mm-hmm.
our military also has rules of engagement, meaning we can't shoot unless one, we got the go ahead, or two, we're being we, we're being fired upon. In this law, there is no stipulation, no writ word or nothing that says you have consequences and repercussions because these are the rules of engagement if you are not licensed to carry in the state of Texas.
So there's no
Mind
guidelines. It's
you,
just kind of whatever.
no, no. And mind you, you still have a large population of individuals who are licensed to carry. Are you going to offer us a refund? Because now um, the state licensing department needs to run me that.
Because
And
I
I,
just took
I
my
say
class
that on
last year.
every citizen. I say that on for every citizen that acquired a license. You should, especially being now that um, there's no requirement to get a license. So your license in the state of Texas is null and void. But again,
Right.
it's not outside of the state of Texas. So being that the state isn't requiring you to be licensed, but other entities, other states are, I'm gonna need my money from the state of Texas for filing that application and going through the process, paying for classes at a range or whatever. I'm gonna need that. I'm gonna need that refund. I'm gonna need that money back because you had me go through a process that's no longer required.
What kind of tapping into that, Chris? Just moving into the Star Spangled Banner Protection Act. I kind of want to, because that kind of goes hand in hand. I mean, or are we gonna be able to take these firearms into the football games now, and make you
According
see?
according to the law that's written, no one can be restricted entry of a public place with the exception of the state capitol, your county courthouses,
Mm-hmm.
your county annexes, and your city government offices. Like government entities, government facilities, you still cannot carry your weapon in those places.
Okay.
Like
But a
your
football
federal
game.
post office, it it, it didn't say that you are not permitted to carry your weapon into a football game. It didn't
So,
say you are not permitted to carry your weapon into a professional football game.
so they're
So,
saying
like
they're
you
saying
said,
now.
if I'm
Yeah.
kneeling and you didn't make me keep my pistol in the car, I could be a potential target on this field and after I leave because I've upset some people.
Well, another law that they passed was the state funding required to play the national anthem before the game. So, I mean, I thought that was not a requirement before, but maybe that's a response to some other things that have transpired in the past. Because I thought that was kind of like,
It
you know,
wasn't that wasn't a
why?
requirement back in the day. That was solely on the venues or vendor that game was held at. Um,
Right.
and that went for middle school and high school, college and professional. You cannot re, again, you cannot make a venue play anything.
Right.
But like you said, here in the state of Texas, we are losing liberties faster than we are gaining business. We are losing liberties faster than we got people coming or moving to Texas. We are losing liberties faster than people are passing with COVID. And a lot of those liberties that we are losing is because we are not at the table. We are not, as a community, dialoguing with each other and then officially coming up with legislation to present to our elected official, whether it's mayor, council, at-large council, appointed individuals, whether it's city manager, uh, chief of police, the commissions, whether it's an elected official in the county commissions, appointed a group or appointed office in the county, or appointed commissions, individuals within the county, Jefferson County Sheriff's Office. We need to know how to be at the table so that when legislation pieces like this come across the table, we can tell our Joe Desatel and our Dave Phelan, you better vote no. And they know that there's consequences and repercussions when we say, you better vote this or that way, because we presented you with some legislation. We presented you with a piece of legislation that's constitutional sound, as well as sound for the state constitution.
Let me interrupt right now. Can I interrupt right here? And let me just say this, is that we're talking about, and I want those who are just joining us and going to join us later on, is that we're talking, this is the first Thursday night roundtable talk. We do this every first Thursday of each month. And my guest is Perry Busby and Chris Jones, and my co-host Francis Lawkins. And our talk tonight
Hold on.
Y'all can hear me?
We can hear you.
We can hear you.
Okay, wait, hold on.
Actually,
yes,
myself and Perry is the co-host for Roundtable Thursdays.
Okay,
and,
all right, okay.
And
all
she is the guest.
Okay.
He a mess.
Hey, can y'all hear my music in the background? No.
Yeah.
We can?
No, we can't. It's off and on. But I would suggest. Yeah, I would suggest resetting your internet modem, your Wi-Fi modem.
That could be what it is, because I'm freezing up too on the screen as well.
Yeah, that's what I'm seeing.
Yeah.
And if I would suggest again, being the tech guy on here, when you do this, don't do Wi-Fi. Connect it up to a router. You want hardwire.
I have a router and Wi-Fi. This is the first time this is done.
But don't do Wi-Fi. Don't do Wi-Fi.
Via
do hardwire.
Card.
Okay. You need to do your hardwire.
Yeah, because you are a host. Because you host and your feed has to require more than what ours do. So that's why we.
Okay, maybe that's what's going on tonight. Because
He producing too, Tony. I think he producing tonight. I think they not only am I.
Yeah, he got his hands full tonight.
Yeah. Well, listen, we're talking about a permitless carry. That's House Bill 1927 that allowed Texans, started yesterday, September the 1st. Starting yesterday, is that it allows Texans age 21 and older to carry handguns without training or a license. Now, I'm a licensed carrier, and I had to have training. I had to study. I had to get to go to the gun range and shoot and practice. Right. And now just think about this now. Think about this. It's just like stand your ground now. They can say,
that's what I was thinking.
They can say, hey, look.
I'm just saying.
Look.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
And I'm a bam, 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 and goddamn, here I am. And wait a minute. You gonna walk because you said you were standing your ground.
Right.
Exactly.
Well, what about me?
Exactly.
That's what I was thinking about Florida.
You better wear a body cam like the police do.
Hey,
but they changed that law too.
You saw that? You saw that?
I saw it.
Well, let's go to the comment board right quick because we have some folks that's asking questions. Said I don't know.
Let's go.
We're gonna quickly answer your questions because we've got so much more in this program to go on. So we're gonna go here to Emily, cousin Emily Thomas, and where there beguns in the voting places. Do you know anything about that?
According to what's written, a voting location is said to be a secured location, and you are not allowed to carry any weapons, pistol, knife, nothing bad. You're not allowed to carry any weapons with the exception of your keys, your driver's license, identification to identify yourself, and
But
that's
that's in two, not
yeah,
on the premise.
right.
Let's be clear.
Right.
That's into
Right.
the
You can have it on the outside, especially you can have it on the outside of the premise if the premise is not a federal building.
You better watch the color paper you walk out with.
Say that again.
The color paper, with the different colors paper, you can tell which way you voted. Watch them papers. Watch the papers.
Okay, let's go.
But the polling location is said to be a federally or a state governed location, and it's equivalent to your courthouse, your police department, and things like that, federal buildings and post office. So on election day, you are not allowed to carry your pistol into the polls, but you can carry your pistol on the outside of that particular perimeter, as long as that's not a federal, county, or state or city owned facility. And from what I gathered, all of our locations, all of our polling locations are owned by the city government, so you cannot I don't know. I'll definitely address that in detail with the Attorney General's office, especially when it comes up for the elections process, Ms. Ermelin, because again, that isn't outlined within this bill either. Whether or not you can take your pistol, your gun strapped to the front of you, sitting on the side of you, in the back, whether it's concealed or open, you're not supposed to carry that weapon into that polling location.
Okay, let's go to Leonard. Let's go to Leonard. My machine is slow. It's not popping up on my screen. What's going on, man, tonight? Leonard Anders out of Lufkin, Texas, is asking what about the new law that it will be probably permissible to have a silencer on your gun, if that is true or not.
As far as attachments, the only approved attachments that I remember hearing was a beam, a light, an actual light, your extended clip, but as far as a silencer, I'm not sure. I'll have to address that also with the attorneys general about this particular attachment being available for open carry or non-licensed individuals. Most of the times, if you have a silencer, you're supposed to keep that quiet because some states you're not allowed to have a silencer. I'm not sure if that was changed in the state of Texas, but before September 1st, I know we were not allowed as carriers to have silencers. So I don't know if that, if the attachments to your right to carry openly without being certified or licensed is available. I'm not sure. I will have to address that with the attorneys general.
Okay, I have a question. What do they hope to gain out of this?
Well, according to the attorneys general, it was stomping on the liberties, the civil liberties of Texans being, you know, able to carry. I mean,
That's a speaking point. I'm
right.
saying, what are they trying to gain?
Well,
Because there is an absolute gain in this, and
this is
their gain is a deficit for us.
and not just not and when we say a deficit for us, and I'm glad you said that because our governor constantly on social media platforms, especially Twitter, saying about you know our brown relatives crossing over into Texas. Technically, if you cross over into a country, you're not considered a human. Man,
Hey,
Be tactful in your delivery.
yeah.
right.
So how is it, like you said, like what's why do we need this? Especially if the federal government says and the Constitution says you have the right to bear arms.
Mm-hmm.
No,
The federal
a militia,
Constitution,
a militia has the
correct,
right.
correct. You having that, and I guess like even with that language, period, because I as an individual could consider myself as a militia.
Right.
Us on this, these three can consider themselves ourselves as a group or a militia group. Um, but technically, in your state constitution, there was no outline on, you know, gun ownership. I, I mean, like I didn't see one. Um, it was just you could go buy a gun. There was no before this law. I don't think there was a age limit. I know that you were, required, especially to have a gun in your possession. You were required to at least know how to operate this pistol. Now, mind you, I know, I know some children, and I did say children who have bolt action rifles. I know some children who have assault style rifles, and they are proficient when it comes to shooting it. But that's a learned behavior that their parents taught them.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
So there is no provision in state gun law, period, that says if I'm a minor and I own a gun, I have to sign an affidavit saying I'll keep it under lock and key until I either one go hunting, which should be to me the only excuse, because you're going hunting, that's survival. But there again, in this bill, in this law, there is no stipulations, no consequences, repercussions to any individual that's carrying a weapon. No consequences to any of them. And I mean, like, yeah, I got gray hair, but if I go dye my gray hair, will you be able to tell how old that? Or if I cut all my facial hair off, will you be really able to tell that I'm 18 plus years old? You know, it's a lot of people that don't look 21 plus, but they are, and they get carded every day. They don't have facial hair, they still have a baby face. But again, like I'll say it again, y'all. There's no consequences or repercussions to individuals owning a gun in the state of Texas. Period. Even with this law being implemented and on the books, it says nobody can own, you know, a weapon under the age of 21. But if I catch you with a gun under the age of 21, it's not outlined in this law how
No.
to how to proceed with you.
It's very unclear. I'm just concerned about the outcome of it. And it's a reason why it's so vague. That's another thing that I'm concerned about. I'm concerned about what's already into law, but I'm also concerned about, how, because words can be basically transcribed or twisted or however you have, whatever you have. I mean, I'm just, my stomach is actually in knots about it. So I don't know. I don't know what the outcome's gonna be.
I can totally understand because if you remember a few years back, I don't know if it was completely passed here in the state of Texas where students can carry their guns on campus, college campus, where teachers will be permitted to carry their gun inside the classroom. I mean, like I said, to me, it's a large undertone when it comes to Texans not being required to be licensed.
Right.
And as an African American man and an African American advocate, an African American, y'all know we wear a lot of hats in our community. As an African American leader, who's to say I won't be the next Medgar Evers, especially with what we got going on in the state of Texas?
Yeah. Well, if I can be honest, I'm really tired about what they're doing, talking about what they're doing. We really have to be adamant and aggressive about what we're doing. And in looking at this, we can't approach this stuff now like we've been doing before. Because one of the quickest things that's going to come out of this is we're going to see some upticks. And if we just do business as usual, we're going to have these spikes about a news story or some issue. I just want to interject. I came across a group headed by some black women. It started out of Detroit. It's called Data for Black Lives. And what this group is doing is showing communities how they can use the actual data and the information about what's going on in your communities. Do you understand that Detroit is the most surveilled city in the United States?
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, the most surveilled. But then if you look at every black community, if you look at Beaumont, you will see that the most surveilled part of Beaumont is on the east side.
Because of the port?
The port? Surveillance is about keeping track and keeping us contained.
Oh, gotcha.
That's all surveillance is about. And what we have failed to do in many of our communities is fail to understand what type of surveillance, what type of systems our government is using, especially law enforcement, to contain us. And now as we continue to move forward, we're going to find out that this thing that we're dealing with, this systemic racism, is going to become more nuanced because it's going to become more automated. And it's hard to say, and you're going to sound crazy trying to say that a machine is racist. But we know, but we know that racism is baked in. And so one of the things that this group is now working on, is Data for Black Lives, is teaching new communities in this new age. Everything that this law has brought in new processes that is going to track data. That's what I said. What is the end goal? I don't know, but I know they're tracking it. They're tracking it to ensure its efficiency, because it's about attrition. What we can't get you at the voting booth about, we will undercut you on your privileges.
Right.
And it's death by 1,000 cuts. And we've got to. I'm putting together a conference that I hope will come in October or November. But I'm bringing some people throughout the United States who are starting to look at this to help us.
Yeah.
At the community level, understand we need to start doing FOIAs. And if you don't know what FOIA is, it's the Freedom of Information Act. We have got to start asking what types of things are being allocated to our law enforcement. Even if the county or the city isn't buying it, it's being given for a purpose.
Right.
And I don't care how well intended it is being used as weapons against us. And we have got to start asking for information, collecting information about our neighborhoods. And I know that doesn't sound sexy and it doesn't sound cute, but that's going to keep our ass out of cages. What you see in Afghanistan is not far. That's Texas.
Not far at all.
In 10, 15 years. Really, it is. And it sounds crazy.
Say sooner than that. I'll say sooner than that, especially with this bill becoming official on the 1st of September. I'm looking at, great civil distress here in the state of Texas, especially after this bill has been passed. I'm looking at, like you said, Perry, like a data-driven society is going to find out the underlying reason for this type of, and a lot of people. I just want to drop this in y'all spirit too. Maybe I want to say 2016, 2015, 16, somewhere around there. The Lone Star Group, which is youth members, went to Austin and learn the law, learn the language, learn their position, whether it was governor, lieutenant governor, however our government is set up. Those individuals were, voted into those particular places on each side. So these students, mind you, governed themselves or mocked governed the state of Texas and succeeded from the nation. That has been the conversation of Texans since Obama.
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, with you saying about succession, under the first African American president, you were still talking about succession under Joe Biden as president. I mean, to me, the tone is set for the tone and stage is set or being set and draped nicely for a civil war, or like I said, civil distress here in the state of Texas. Mm-hmm. And what people are not realizing, if the succession of Texas happens, that means all of your federal funding stops. That means Social Security, whoever receiving it, stops. That means if you receive VA compensation, that stops, because you are no longer, you live in a place that's not governed by the federal government, also known as the United States of America, Incorporated. So yeah, y'all can talk
Hmm.
succession if y'all want. We just brought some people back from Afghanistan. We not in war
Yeah,
in Afghanistan no
yeah,
more. Where you? I'm trying to tell y'all talk
yeah.
succession if y'all want. I know for sure that the Texas State Reserve is not big enough to go against the United States Department of Defense. I didn't say Army. I didn't say Marine Corps. I didn't say Navy. I didn't say Air Force. I said
Yeah,
Department of
yeah,
Defense. That's all of them.
All of them inclusive.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Right.
Well, our
Yeah,
time is
Right.
up, guys.
but see, what they're getting at more than
Ain't
anything
no more, no
else.
more. I know. Oh no,
Okay,
oh no. Y'all hear me? Yeah.
That's the co-host now, Tony. You better.
okay, okay. One last
You
one, Tony.
just, you
But
One
just
last
really,
one. Okay.
but Chris, their long goal is really, if you really talk to those steeped in deep right wing ideology, their ultimate goal is to get to a constitutional convention so that they can open up the Constitution.
Yes,
Because
sir.
once you open up the Constitution, all things are at play, including the 13th Amendment,
Right.
the 14th and 15th.
Right.
So understand they are looking at this because in order for a constitutional convention to take place, you got to get at least 3/4 of the states. And when you start looking at state houses and where they are
Right.
coalescing their authority, their authority,
Right.
they are trying to push that. That's their ultimate goal because now if they can change constitution,
And if
we got a different society here,
and if you
and
remember,
that's what they're trying to get to.
Trump led his party into the White House with, we're gonna nullify and or amend the Constitution of the United
Yeah,
States. So
yeah.
hey, like you said, big bro, the stage is set. We are not as a
So,
people, as a population, as the populace here in Beaumont. We didn't go to Austin and advocate against this particular law, or with all of us addressing our personal issues and our collective issues. So this is what you got, and
yeah,
I'll let anybody know. um I am authorized by the federal government and the Department of Defense to not only carry, but I also have the authority to shoot to kill. So I'm not asking, no questions. Why you pointing your gun at me? I'm not gonna ask that. I'm not gonna ask that. I'm
But
not.
when it hit the fan, I'm coming to your house.
Hey
I'm just
guys,
letting you know. Put
this has
your
been a great.
address.
This has been a great show. We
Shit.
have bounced off a lot of bit on the where were you on? Because I have so much going on. We
State
didn't
law.
estate
say
law. Yeah,
what?
the
Yeah,
house. The
yeah.
Permitless
house.
You've been
carry.
DJing.
Yeah, but I still can I hear anything. I'm just blowing my mind.
Tony,
I
what's
worked on
going
this all.
on with you?
I worked on this all
Nah,
afternoon.
nah, you
And
should have put
Somebody
something
hit
in
a button.
Ohio. Now, well, you didn't have the right music. You should have had Ohio Players
I
Funky
can't play.
Word. I bet you could.
I can't play that because it have copyright rights. So I can't do that. Now, you're not gonna put me in jail. Shit. But we gonna we want to talk next Sunday. We'd like to since we're in the peak of hurricane season, I like to invite someone in on Sunday to talk about the hurricane preparedness. So we're in the peak of hurricane season, so we don't want to make sure the people in our community is prepared and can be
Sunday at
prepared
what
for
time?
8 o'clock. 8 o'clock. Always at 8 o'clock. You like to join me?
You
Always.
looking like a kid with Tourette's over here, but okay.
But anyway, we like to talk about that, and also we like to come
That's
back.
not funny.
I like to come back and talk about the Texas new laws that's going in place, especially the social studies curriculum changes and or
Absolutely.
HB 3979
Absolutely.
limits teachers from discussing current events and symptom. Oh shit! I went bad here. Symptomatic racism in class. The bill also prevents students.
Systemic.
Systemic.
We know what you mean.
I'm tired.
We know what you mean.
We got you.
Also, the bill also prevents students from receiving class credit for participating in civic engagement and bans teachers of the 1619 project. Only in Texas. We have to put up with this. So we're going to talk about that on our next episode. And again, join us Tuesday for the COVID-19 survivor. They're going to give their testimony on recovering from COVID-19. With that being said, you guys have the last word before we close it out.
If they don't want to do 1619, can we talk about the dismantling of the pear orchard in the north and south end?
That part, population shift.
Correct.
That part,
I would like to invite everybody, all listeners, viewers, and watchers. I'm also the president of the Charlton Pilot Historical Neighborhood Association, aka the Real South End. The Real South End. We'll be meeting on Tuesday. We'll be having a StreamYard meeting, not this Tuesday, but the 14th of the month. It won't be our regular business. It's just a workshop where we'll be discussing current events as well as financial literacy. We try to keep our neighbors and the broader community informed on what we're doing here in the Charlton Pilot neighborhood, as well as sharing best practices. So that's, we still got a lot. And we'll definitely be on, Tony, to share your Sundays broadcast so that our residents will be able to be informed on hurricane preparedness, because we got, 2 more months?
We got 2 more months, but we're going into the peak of, and we're going into the peak of hurricane season right now. So we got to get ourselves prepared and ready, and be ready. Yeah, it's funny. I ordered a home generator, so I won't have to come home for a week or two without no electricity and no air conditioning. But
you put your address on here too for that, because I need a whole list of addresses.
I was about to say we're gonna need Tony's address.
I ordered it back in April. And I called them last week. I said, "Hey man, I ordered this back in April. You guys still not here with my generator." And he said, "Oh, we shorthanded. We backed up." I said, "Okay, I backed up. You need to back up into my place.
Back up to my house.
Back up to my house. Put me some AC on here." But anyway, it's an 8 months backup on those generators. So it'll be next summer before I'll be equipped with generator. But
no, not this. I won't come this season. Tony,
don't come see me this time. I'll be on a hurricane this time again. Well, people, we enjoyed you. I enjoyed my guests, Chris Jones and Perry Busby, and my co-host tonight, Chris Jones and Perry Busby, and our guest, Francis Larkins. We got that turned around. So we'll be back again on Sundays, and we'll be back on Tuesdays. So we love you. God bless you, and peace.
Thank you for watching Knowledge is Power Podcast Live. Be sure to like and subscribe to all Knowledge is Power social media pages.